Hello everyone, Dan from Evolving Magic here. Like and subscribe. And this is going to be a very different style of magic video. In essence, describing what is the right lens for you and using and shooting for your magic content. And this is someone who, starting out, what do we choose? Because this is something I had to spend a year on, purchasing different lenses and finding the right one that works for me. And I want to offer all my tidbits and everything so I could save people a bunch of hassle in having to find the right lens and, having different options in what to choose. So let's go right into it. I should mention this one I'm shooting on. So what is, I should first start by what is the right focal length. I think that's the right place to start. And in general, I'm going to start with the true focal length, not an APS-C that says, like for example, this one says for Sigma, it says, I'm not sure if it can capture it on here. It says, this is a Sigma 18 to 35 1.8 all throughout aperture lens. Beautiful, beautiful lens. But it's for APS-C, which means it's for crop sensor cameras and multiplies by 1.6. So instead of 18 to 35, it's like I'm just estimating, I know it's not perfect, 29 to I believe 55, around there, millimeters in length. So we think is 18 to 35, is really 29 to 35 for a full frame, which is the true focal length. And I'm going to be speaking from a Canon side of point of view. I know there's Sony, Nikon, and Panasonic and all the others, Leica and all the others. So it may be a little bit limiting speaking from a Canon point of view, but there's going to be a lot of tidbits that will apply in general to the thing. So starting with the focal length, from what I've experienced, the focal length that is suggested to create good magic videos can be from the true focal length, not cropped or anything, is 8 millimeters to 35 millimeters. I found, just from personal opinion, to be the most ideal when shooting magic videos. It gives that wide perception of what you need to do. As an example, this is being shot on a 14 millimeter prime lens on my 90D. Now, this is a good example because my 90D, Canon 90D, great camera, love it to death, and it shoots in 4K, which you're seeing right now, is because it's an APS-C sensor, it crops my 14 millimeters into around 22 millimeters, which is 22.3 millimeters, for people who want to be exact, I believe. But it's the focal length of the human eye, because I really want to see what people can see. And it's like, you're using an Astro lens, the one that's super wide, and you're limiting the view to get the focal length of the human eye? I'm like, yeah, because this is like the sharpest and like best in low light. You get this really sharp quality you're seeing right now with this. Now, mind you, don't just rush out and get this one. This is a $1,600 lens, and even if you do find it used, I found this for like nearly $1,000. Everything, shipping, taxes, everything. I found a really good deal. It was just a little chip on there on the outside part of the lens. I mean, just on the hood part. That's got docked. It was a great deal. But you got to find the lens that works for you for the right situation. Now, for me, I shoot in a lot of low light situations, so the aperture is also important. The aperture is like f/, for just basics, rudimentary basics, f/whatever number. And like an example, this is the Canon 8 to 15 millimeter. This is the f4 lens, so it doesn't let in as much light as this one I'm using on. It's a prime lens, so that means it doesn't adjust like the zoom in or out. It's just stuck at that one and stuck at the length of the human eye. And it's on APS-C, so it can be even wider if I'm using a full frame, but I'm not currently. Even though I do have a 90, I now am in possession of an R6. But with that being said, 90D is just so great. $1,000. And it can shoot 4K, and guess what? No overheating. People are going to hate me in the comments for that. So this is what the image looks like on a prime lens on the Sigma 14 millimeter 1.8. I'm now going to switch it over to the 8 to 15 millimeter on a Canon lens, f4. And one thing before I do change it, this is important because this is not actually, well, 8-15 for a full frame, but if you do the math on this one, I believe it's like around, I'm just estimating, 13 millimeters because of the crop sensor on my 90D 1 times 1.6 crop. So 1.6 times 8 or 1.6 times 15, 8-15 around there, gives us around 13 millimeters, like a 12.8, 13 millimeters to 24. So people will go, well, if you want to just get closer, why not just get full frame? You could, and though they can be a lot more expensive. And you gotta make sure that they're actually giving you the full frame if you're doing video. Like with the R6, it's a minor little crop, a 1.07 crop. So it's not like fully full frame. The R5, you do get it, but it's very expensive, nearly $4,000 if you can find it. It's fluctuating times with what's going on in the economy right now. So, I mean, they are expensive, and then just trying to find the right one that works for you. So 90D is great for me, and I'm now testing out the R6 in doing all the field tests for that. So all that said, now let's jump into the 8-15, and you're going to see what it looks like, and if it's a lens that you like, because I want to save people time in knowing what lens is right for them. And so you can be able to create some great magic content. So let's switch it over right now. So this is the Sigma at 1/60th of a second shutter speed, 4.0 aperture. And I had to raise the ISO because this is a little bit more low light. This is around 1250. I might even lower a little bit. Now, again, with the lower aperture, as you're going to see, and this is just wisdom nuggets I had to learn along the way, with a, they say step down, stepping down, just with the aperture being at 4.0 rather. The problem being is that it doesn't isolate the subject as much. You can see more focus over here, more focus over here. It's not so direct where the focus or attention should be. So you can see it doesn't put my body out of focus. You can still see it more. Whereas when I put a card really into focus, you have to go really close. And so you could get that blur. You could see me out of focus and this card's really in focus. With the lower aperture, you don't even have to put it that much. You could be right here. And it takes less, it takes much less effort, or rather, you don't have to be as far away to get that subject separation. And then there's bokeh and goes into all of that. But for what matters, this could be a great lens because of for the 8-15, because it gives a fisheye effect. So you can distort your images. So it looks, I know my image looks slightly distorted. You could see it in here. Anyway, so this is the 8-15, and essentially it can also zoom. That's a rare function, just like this one, in comparison to the prime you was just on earlier. You could see this large prime lens. That's huge. That's what she said. And now we get to see what this is actually zoomed out to 24 millimeters. This is a full 24 at f4, and I can actually zoom it out to, let's say, halfway at, let's say, 12, which is equivalent at 1.6. Geez, my mouth is stinking right now. 67, 7.2, 7.2 plus 12. That's 19.2, around 19.2 millimeters. So you can see this, and you can start to see a little bit of distortion around. And then we can keep on zooming in even further. And we get, well, this is vignetting at 8 millimeters. This is what it does, so you don't want to go below. But I learned a little trick, and I might as well talk about it here in case you do opt for this one. Again, this is just the lenses I have. I'm not suggesting to go out and buy anything, just showing you lenses that have worked for me. This is like the 2 clicks before you get to 10 millimeters, like just on the rubberized thing, just barely before you get to 10 millimeters. You get a perfect non-vignetted image, and where it looks just really, really distorted to how things look. Whoosh. Just gives that real fisheye look. And it's really, really nice. So if you need a camera that can get really up close, and this is really wide for what it is, but if you need a really wide image and you don't need want a tripod, you just want to film videos on the go, and you got a perfect situation to do it, and you just want it really close so you don't have to set up. Like, this is literally about 2 feet away and you're getting this. I can even pull it in closer. And you can get that really nice image and it looks distorted. And again, it's actually really useful if you're moving around so you can see this real fisheye effect. And for those interested, how am I holding it up? Because there's no stand, this is on the table. I'm actually using just the lens cap, just the lens cap and the camera cap to actually hold this up and to do it. I'm just improvising, but it works, and you get this really great image. And for the H15, this is great image. You know, if you would have to raise the ISO for low light situations, which will create a graininess to it, so it won't be as sharp as would be with the lovely Sigma lens for the 1.8. But you do get that, so that's, you know, there. So these are my top 2 lenses whenever I go out. I use the fisheye interchangeably with the Sigma. If I can't use a Sigma immediately, then I use the H15 immediately for most of my content because it's really, really up close. I want people to see what I see because, you know, it's not as easy to see close-up magic, and I want everyone to see it from where I see it. And the best focal length is 8 to 35 millimeters to get that image, which is really cool. And so the final one I want to opt for is, before I make suggestions and things of that nature, I do want to try out the 18 to 35 so you can see this as well. It's a great lens as well, and I do want to showcase this one. So give me 1 second, and we're going to change it right. Wait, no. And this is the quality of the Sigma 18 to 35. Let me see if I can lower the aperture a bit so you guys can actually see it. I'll use it at, let's say 500, around there. So this is Sigma 1835 at 1.8 at 500 ISO. It looks really nice. It's a really clean, sharp image. The only downside for me as a mostly videographer, and it's great for normal conditions and everything, it's great. Take that with the 50-100 and you could perform or video under nearly any situation or take wonderful photos under any situation. Those are wonderful lenses. I prefer an ultra wide for what I do, and you know, when I got the 1835, I'm like, oh, great, I can do it. I was doing a bunch of videos, but as I went on, I wanted that right wide angle and everything, so I personally opted for the 14 millimeter 1.8 Astro lens. But the 1835, if you have this room and space, because you're going to need a tripod most likely, or a good amount of space to do it. I was just barely able to do it before it falls off the table, in this case, and I was able to get a very clear image with it. But just for my style, I like to have an ultra wide. And for an ultra wide, it ranges from 8 to, assuming we're doing APS-C, it'd be 8 to like 16 millimeters is like ideal for what I personally do on an APS-C. Full frame, I'm going to maybe do a separate video on the R6 showing you. This is for the APS-C models. And I just want to give you a good sense of what a good image will look like if this is your style, this is what you want for your magic videos, and the range, so you can be able to make the right purchase and evaluate your decisions and be able to, you know, create your own magic content. Because originally, and you know, I was inspired, I'll admit it, I was inspired by Chris Ramsey in his YouTube videos. Mostly he was doing puzzles, occasional magic tricks, but I think he switched over mostly puzzles. I'm not sure. But I just remember looking at one of his videos, and it was so razor sharp. He was using a full frame and using a 24 millimeter. I don't know what camera he was using. Maybe the 5D Mark II or 4, I don't know. And the image was just so nice. And it was a 24 millimeter 1.4, the Canon version. It was so beautiful. And I said to myself, I want that. Now, mind you, the 24 becomes like around a 38 on a APS-C camera, which is not ideal necessarily for shooting magic videos, even though there is the aperture, the really good subject separation of f1.4, really good separation. The problem was you really want to get to that right focal length. And so, you know, on the R6, yeah, you can use that 24 millimeter or whatever full frame camera you have, you can use it great. And for any whether it be Sony, Nikon, or whatever. And I'm using a single point focus, so if it's right here, it focuses much better and it separates me out. So I look like I'm blurring out of focus. But I just really want to give you the choice, the option to knowing what is the right camera and thing for you, because I had to spend like a whole year studying reviews, videos, and things to find the right lens for me. I hope this was helpful in some way to you. I will do the R6 review with the full frame lenses, being this one and this one, not the Sigma 1835 because that's an APS-C. And even though you can put it on there, it would be like 8 megapixel image, and that's not necessarily the greatest because it crops. That's a crop lens. But I do want to give these options to you, viewing these different ones, because just being able to see this and knowing what it looks like really helps in making an informed decision. And honestly, I just hope this video helps whoever's out there, and just want to wish everyone a wonderful day, and however you just try to create your content. And final note, before I end the video, I did want to put one note out for the people who are using the iPhone and stuff that nature, your own phones. They are good cameras. They really do have good cameras. If you're really starting out and you can't afford, I get it. I was under special conditions to be able to afford this gear. But for those who are using just like, your own phone can work. This is a Galaxy S8. I used it in the Magic in Malibu series. You can type in Magic in Malibu on YouTube and you'll find it. And I was using just this camera for most, because they wouldn't allow professional gear. I couldn't take it. I was kind of sad, but I just opted for this and was able to get some pretty good image quality. It's 12 megapixels, 1.7 aperture, which is insane. This is what it matches the level of this and this. The quality might be not ultra like the best ever, but it was able to hold its own. You're able to see it pretty well. So you can create the content until you get monetized and get the funds to do it. It works. iPhone's even better, but like this, I can record on this and just get the files over to transfers pretty well. Just you need a micro SD card reader so you can insert into your laptop, and make sure you know how to transfer the files correctly. Make sure everything works, have everything work out, or open the phone regularly. And it's just good. This this can work as well. Not as well, but it can be a viable replacement option. And this is only 50 to 100 bucks. Like $100 for this phone that can, get you that quality or decent quality until you do it. I really thought there was such a dramatic difference. And there is a decent amount of difference, sure. But, when you need to opt for just something basic, this will get you by. And the iPhones, you're even better. Way, way better, what they can do. And though they don't try to hide it from all their stats and everything, it's 12 megapixels. I believe it's currently 12 megapixels for the iPhones, but they have such good strats and how to get their sharp images and everything. It's so cool how they do it. So yeah, you can use your iPhone. Don't feel humiliated for using your iPhone to record video. It's a great, great camera. So again, I hope this video was helpful to you in all the ways, whether you use your phone, no judgment, it's cool, or whether you use, APS-C, which I'm currently recording it on, or full frame. I just want to give you these different options so you can choose the right image that works right for you. And this is 18 millimeter. It's currently being shot in 18 millimeter, which is 29.2, and it goes to 50 or 28.8 or something. It's like a 29 millimeter, and then it zooms all the way in to right here, so you could barely even see me-ish. So again, I hope all this was helpful and in choosing your photo journey. It took me a year to do this. It only takes me max 20 minutes to do this video, but I just hope this is helpful to you, and wishing you the best on your photo video journey for recording magical content and how it can be helpful for you. So wishing you a wonderful day, and hope to see you in the next video.